Welcome. We're back with another one, and welcome today from the streets to entrepreneurs. I'll be your host today, Promise Divon, and we wanted to just go live for a second, and then I wanted to talk with how I be talking with my bro about some things. But basically today, and let's give out the intro again. Welcome to the streets to entrepreneurs, the newest urban podcast. Till we not. We gonna take that from the top. Yeah. Welcome again to the Streets to Entrepreneurs, your newest urban podcast. Do we not? But no, I just wanted to say that episode we could give a general. The podcast, all right. So the podcast is basically the creation of the talking aspect and the feeling aspect, the realistically understanding of business entrepreneurship and coming from not just the perfection of success or when I finally be there. And then from there, we are, and yes, a founder and creator and business owner of Consumer AI.info, Dispute AI, no, Dispute AI.xyz, and go to our automation and main company, which is Futuristic Digital Wealth Agency. I know it sounds like a lot, but basically that is what we're doing. I've read it and seen the post about being the jack of all trades or having multiple different talents or ambitions. It's basically just focusing on what you want to do and what you like. So I'm just wanted to give that spill out for the beginning and get into it. So like I said, welcome to the Streets of Entrepreneurs, where we talk about money, business, wealth, financial literacy, and a plethora of things that pertain to the culture. But we don't just talk about it. We also show you how you could do it yourself. Today, I wanted to get back into explaining why we need to talk more about getting into business and entrepreneurship, and then the whole gist of it. And then the reality of the back end of being an entrepreneur, or doing and chasing your dreams or ambitions in that aspect. I was just talking to my brother, and then I was watching a video on it last night about the psychology around what's going on now in society pertaining to support, friendships, relationships, and marriages. Even the births of babies is being affected from, let's say, inflation or this survival mode that everybody feel like they're in. And my main thing I've been saying also to the people is, let me check, we good. Bam. Also what I've been saying to people too is we just broke. A lot of people are broke, but then you have to understand why. And then that's why I said that video is very good, because in survival mode, he says that you can't create to find another avenue out of it. So that's what I wanted to talk to and get into today. Hopefully you can hear me on this one. Because we are on YouTube right now and Kick. I ain't messing with Twitch right now because Twitch out here done banned Rakai and doing all type of weird stuff. It's like, nah. But it's not about that also. Another reason I'm on here is to motivate people that are maybe talented, have ambitions, or don't have the courage and be like, yo, bro, how can you do it? It's just do it. That's it. Just do it. Also, you only have one shot in life. After this is nothing else. There's no more. You might as well get you a digital presence of who you are or what you wanted to do and share. But let's get into why I wanted to talk more about business and entrepreneurship in the beginning, and also my trials and tribulations of going through it and learning the actual process of it. Then, as you see from the screen, if you are here for the live right now, we have an ebook on here that I made a long time ago pertaining to starting a LLC or business. One of my favorite, let's say, what we gonna put Dick Gregory as? Let's put Mr. Gregory as a revolutionary speaker in that manner. So if you ever know or I like Dick Gregory, look the brother up. But he talks about that, and I want to get into more of it because of what I'm seeing when it comes to finances, entrepreneurship, and then the togetherness, and especially the culture. So that's why I wanted to talk about business, and then we're going to get that into and mix it with credit and then AI. I want to tell people right now, if you're not learning AI or trying to use it to build something, create something, or learn a new skill or something, uh, listen, they out here dropping robots, everything. So the meaning on why we need to learn business, start business, and get back into entrepreneurship is that to overcome a financial situation, you have to learn what our society and economy in America is based on, and that's business. So, what do I mean by that? It's not, let's say, the formal structure. Think about it like this. What do I like? What am I good at? Or what can I indulge in to bring in, let's say, another source of income? From when I used to grow up, right, we used to like have people that did hair in their house or dinner plates and stuff like that to make it or overcome certain different, let's say, income problems or money issues. Now I'm starting to notice that people with the inflation or the increase of price of living, that people are feeling like the only other outcome is to go get another job and slave and really just live bill to bill and check to check. And that's why I was also getting into understanding and speaking just regular, because a lot of it is coming from people are being into a survival mode because it's no support, because nobody else is creating, or you're in an environment where nobody else is creating and they're like, go ahead and do it. Everything is some facade or social media thing, or everybody look alike or doing the same thing. So what happens is we have to now reverse that to get ahead. For an example, I was telling my brother, like, if the stores actually shut down, we don't have nobody that own a grocery store or a Walmart. We don't have nobody that own a gas station, and we need oil and things in that manner. And the whole aspect is that from it not being passed down, then people are not like indulging in, or we're indulging in it in a manner of where it's not really ours. Like how they're telling kids and people to just become rappers and content creators, and who's going to fix the refrigerator and the light switches, and who's going to program the robots. So if we get back into indulging into our dreams and ambitions and then learning and applying this technology, then it would be easier to understand, okay, can I start a business? Why am I starting a business? And then what is the benefits of me in a business? So for an example, pardon me, I have a lot of back taxes because, let's say, for me being young starting an LLC, I never filed to tell them I didn't make no money. So now you get fines and stuff for that. It's done, of course, accumulated. But now, right, I noticed that since I structured the LLC properly, that it doesn't show up on my personal credit. It shows up just on the business credit, or in a business profile or review when they run the business, or it would be, let's say, yes, the business credit, and if it's a tax warrant or you owe back taxes. Of course, depending on also how you structure your business, it will be tied to your name, depending on who filed it and things in that manner. But when I noticed that, let's say younger, it made me start noticing the different aspects of what a LLC, S corporation, or just starting a business legally on paperwork means. So, why I also wanted to talk and introduce and said look into Dick Gregory is because for the culture in the community, like I said, we don't own too much right now. I looked and did research on tech founders and tech companies, and it's a 0.02% of African Americans in tech or technology. After that, we increased the entrepreneur business market during COVID, but most of our businesses, our solo entrepreneur businesses or micro businesses, meaning that they do not employ over 200 to 500 people. That plays a major part in the survival and longevity of a business in this economy or American society. Then let's now get realer. We are getting on these platforms, making music, products and things and recipes, and not understanding that we're now promoting this on something that we don't own and then not protecting it the proper way. For an example, how many people we done seen on TikTok that have made a trendy sound and somebody done went and trademarked it from Iowa or something. But now if we would have learned that, all right, this is booming, let's hurry up and work together and go get 250 and let's trademark this or copyright this, then now we could have sued them and got triple and owned that sound. We should be knowing this after watching all of these rappers and stuff since Motown get. You feel me? So, the main thing about America is a business. The main thing about business is to, let's say, avoid taxes. Let's just make it easy. Make money to not pay the government back. Money will be the most simple way. Also, the number one way to build wealth in this day and age and economy is by owning your own stuff, and especially starting a business. Why? Because we're seeing that AI is now mimicking people, and we're going through what they call an IP war, which is an intellectual property war. So for like you putting images and stuff on these platforms that you don't own and then signing these agreements, they can now use your data and image and likeness freely. That's going to be a big thing in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even faster. Then we have issues with, let's say, the major things that humans need. Like I said, they're telling us to like, yo, just go be streamers and things in that manner, but they're not telling us how to properly structure it and own it. Then after a while, you still gonna need some Wi-Fi. You still gonna need electricity. And we don't have no major electric companies that we own or know how to, let's say, what do you call it? Advance. Meaning, all right, let's start a solar company or something in that manner, or let's learn that. Then, as you see, depending on these or your algorithm of platforms, you're not going to even get this type of information too consistently. Yes. So that's the whole point of learning business. And then let's say from a negative and street aspect, who you think is more dangerous? A street drug dealing rich person or the owner of BlackRock? You know what I'm saying? So let's just be realistic. The business is also how the world is run, especially right now with technology advancing. So now we have to get into the bare basic understanding. We need to pump more, support more, and look more into our talents and things like that, and funnel resources together in that manner to promote this more to us and the youth in the next generation. The how to legally structure it, how to properly do your taxes this time so you don't go through no type of issues. Then also credit. A lot of us know the credit game now, but you know how it go. But we know that with credit and a fake score, we can now use that with a business and go and access double to triple digit funds to now. I don't know who that is calling. Who that calling? Let's see. We gonna have to take they call back in a minute. I hope it is not a client right now while we're trying to go live. So pardon me. But yes, that's another major thing because like I was saying, pardon me, let's bring it back from the top. The reason we have to get into business and stuff is that's how a community is rebuilt and built with funds to now reinvest back into us, reinvest into community centers and things in that manner. I was telling a sister, she like, oh, whatchamacallit works for a grant company or something like that. But I'm like, I don't see nobody teaching us how to get them grants, how to write them grants. So That's what we have to start really indulging and expressing when it comes to business. So let's go and bam, let's cover this real quick. Black people, we are a $3.6 trillion consumer market. Don't forget that. So, depending on what state and stuff is in, is basically very easy. Go come up with a name for your business. This is the bare basics of, let's say, starting a business. Research and name into what you like or what do you like, regardless of it's making food or a consultation or car cleaning. Start that now and then worry about the paperwork. Figure out a name and then go search the name in your state to see, all right, is anybody else using this name and can I, file for this name and make a business under this name. You can start in the beginning of paying, let's say, maybe for a DBA to just get you a foothold into learning the aspects of starting a business in this day and age of society. Don't use a lot of these apps too. Why? Because I don't really know the process and back end of a lot of these apps that's telling you to will start your businesses and LLCs and you just have to pay your filing fee. I know it's a gimmick in their user agreements and stuff. I like to tell people to do things to where you can actually see the paperwork yourself and indulge in the paperwork yourself. Sign it yourself. Don't do too many of these. I don't know. I don't trust them. So do a DBA. Learn what a DBA means. Learn what these LLCs mean. Learn what a S corporation or a C corporation means. And then also remember that the main thing you started a business for or was doing anything ambitious or entrepreneur wise is to not just get the money but also get ahead and get out the rat race. You know what I'm saying? To be realistic. So don't forget that, because a lot of people start to forget the reason why they started in the first place, because now we're measuring our steps and trials and errors based on materialistic things, or let's say money, and it's not about that. And I had just talked with a friend. It's more about giving the world something or people that can help or that they like, and then after that people will pay. But then that's when we need to also learn how to protect ourselves. And my issue is I have bad money management skills. So we have to now get with other people that are, let's say, financial assistants and advisors, and learn how to network and not get, got and scam or scared. Like, yeah, we're about to get just fuck over. No, no, no. We got to stop doing that too. Just thinking negatively about everything. Every time you go on the sun, it's just going to fail. Take that out your spirit. It's like riding a bike. So yes, you can start off with a DBA that's cheap. Get into just also learning the meaning and making it easy. The meaning of business in these entities is to protect you when you start making money or buying assets. That's the whole thing. And then tax loopholes. They did that. That's the main three things that they created this business entity stuff for. That's it. For you to be able to make money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, buy assets and protect them. For an example, if you did a skincare product and sold it and you don't have an LLC, and it makes somebody's skin go bad, they could take everything you got. Everything. But now if it's structured under, let's say, a business, they only can access and sue for what's under the business. That's where you get all of these loopholes and the stuff that you're hearing about the 1%. I'm in upstate. I'm in New York. So in New York, it is around 250 to 255 to file your LLC out here. Then after that, for my I don't want to say it, but the gurus in my area, you then need to now in New York State put your business in the legal part of the newspaper. I think it's for one for every. I think both of them for every 6 weeks, but then one has to be posted weekly and one has to be posted daily. Research it. Excuse me. Pardon me if I didn't give the exact proper frame and time frame. But that's also what you have to do. You have to put it in the newspaper and run it in the newspaper. Then from there, you're also going to get your EIN. And then from your EIN, what you're going to try and want to do is get a tax ID number. But if you don't know nothing about a tax ID number, don't go get it yet. Research it first. That's the issue I had. Because basically a tax ID number is like when you go into these stores and you see they have them orange papers on the wall, that gives them the right to add tax to whatever they sell and then also not get taxed when they go buy products in bulk. Then from there, you got your EIN and that. Then you want to probably get you a DUNS number. Yes, get you a DUNS number. Go to what is it, Duns and Bradley, and get you a DUNS number. What are you gonna need that for? Too is to properly keep your business in every one of these legal systems. Like I said, a lot of us just do paperwork, file, and then pay for just the filing and don't really go the full way. So, and then that's another reason that a lot of people don't get business funded because you have no track record. Your business is not trackable. Not what all these other people saying about the addresses and stuff. They care about that tax record. They want to make sure they can track you on everything as soon as you mess up some millions. That's basically it. But also the DUNS number is for when now we start teaching and learning us how to do government contracts and things in that manner. We'll get into that on another note. But that's the point of a DUNS number, and then also in the systems. They want to have you in the system. So put it and do it. It's free. From there, that's why I said it's basically we got to get into teaching more. I see why they got all of these exotic business schools and stuff for so much money. So from there, why take some time to research, and why I keep saying research, because we have AI now. You can literally do a lot of research with AI to understand them three aspects of why to start a business. The difference between, let's say, a S corporation and a C corporation is just the amount of employees that each one has and the tax structure, the tax loopholes. That's it. Then from there, we're going to get into probably banking. The most important thing they definitely didn't teach us is the banking part. Get into the banking, and that's why I said we're getting into the teaching, because also, like I said, my biggest issue right now, and I'm trying to clear it, that's why I do a lot of credit and stuff, is I have to fix them back taxes on the LLC if I want to keep the LLC running. And this is one of, like I said, I did this real young, so now I have to really play catch up. But I love the learning process. And then, like I said, and then the good thing about it is too, as you remember, they was trying to make people, what was it, when Trump came in office, they wanted you had to do something with your LLCs. You had to file and tell them who the original owner and stuff was if you was a new LLC and things in that manner. But if you have an aged LLC that was not started in, I think, 2020 and better, then you don't have to worry about the filing fee and all of the issues that was with that. I'm going to look into that and do that in another live and stream or a video and talk about that. And basically if it's about to come back, or how to properly, like I said, structure the LLCs now to where it's nothing tied to your name. That's the whole point of this stuff, is to protect your assets. For an example, a lot of us, let's say, have property and things in that manner and don't know that if a person slip and fall, they can sue you and take something if your business is not structured under a business. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot. And then we make it so difficult because it's, like I said, everything is buy and sell and transaction there. But we have to make this more friendly and talkable to where even a person working a daily job can understand how to do this. Like, all right, bam, what can I do after work and a business mindset to now overcome this inflation or the headache of bills? How can I find something I like doing fun and turn it into a passive income? Then you just start, as you start making your money, that's when you start to like do all of and pay all of your fees and things like that. Why am I saying that versus the other, let's say, professionals? I think that more people need to go first with the trying and doing before the overthinking of all of the paperwork, the filing fees, the LLC, the tax records. Take it little by little. So, also, yeah, we didn't even get into really not-for-profits. But non-for-profits is another entity. But the best thing about a non-for-profit is that a non-for-profit is 100% tax exempt if you are a 501c3. And let's keep going. After that, now you're going to need paperwork and stuff. That's another thing that we have to now start teaching us. How do you make like stocks under your business? A lot more to it that we aren't told. That's why I said a lot of us is just really, we have to really get back into togetherness, let's say. Meaning I'm the gatekeepers and stuff that you got to pay $80,000 for this things like, no, we got to start just making this into something that, like I said, a podcast. I'm starting to start noticing a lot of people are talking about the behind the scenes of the entrepreneur and business life, especially the culture, because we are not a lonesome culture. We are not a culture that's just thirsty to just make money and be isolated off capitalism and then just selling and selling. No, people want people to be like, yo, come on, we about to do this together and things in that manner. But yeah, we also can sell stocks in our LLCs and stuff, but we aren't taught that, or you have to pay so much, or it's in some high tech banking terminology. But the bare basic is you're going to need to add the registered agent to your LLC, which I would say, I would actually tell people to use a different business or a DBA in that, or a lawyer. Why? Because a registered agent is like also there for if your business go through any lawsuits, so they can become tied to your LLC subconsciously. So that's another thing we have to understand too. So you can use yourself, let's say that, just to start out, until you understand, like, all right, can I switch up and use another business or another LLC so it doesn't have no name? You can make a holding company, or like I said, you can have an attorney. Because the registered agent, like I said, is there to deal with any type of paperwork or legal things that your business goes through. I know that because I'm dealing with a lot of litigations with credit bureaus and debt collectors. After that, you have an operating agreement if you're starting an LLC. The operating agreement is just a roadmap describing your business and who is part of your LLC and what your LLC does. And then you have your articles of organization that you're probably going to get from the state when you file your business. At the time, I think I had Rocket Lawyer I used, and then I think LegalZoom too. And then if you go get the ebook, if you comment for the ebook, we do also have a link to the SBA, because that's another thing that they, you seeing, I'll be seeing all these TikTok and people just like, oh, inbox me for SBA loans and grants. How about you just explain it in about a 10-step video and do a series or something and then just sell the last part? But I'm serious. So, like I said, in the ebook, it explains the difference between registering your business and, like filing it and then just putting it on paperwork, and then versus registering your business. Then, like I said, your EIN number and things in that manner. Then from there, that's basically this template of the ebook. But also, we have to get into the future and forward thinking of it. Why? Because like I said, for a simple analysis of a lot of us that's creating content, a lot of us don't know that using a lot of these platforms now, they're changing the user agreements to where they can literally train AI, our voices and stuff, without us knowing. A lot of people I noticed that make products or new designs or clothing brand designs, and then next week you got Walmart copywriting it and selling it again. So we had to really understand business and get back into business and teaching business instead of just running around here boasting, oh my God, I got an LLC. Did you ever file taxes? Do you know how to? Are you employing anybody? That's what we have to start figuring out and doing. Why? Because look, a lot of people went to jail for PPP, and the only thing we had to do was just do payroll. Really? Yes. The only thing we needed was a payroll app, pay the monthly payments, and just paid ourselves. And you qualify for all of that money that people were scamming. So that's what we have to learn and teach more. And then be comfortable too. So if you're around people and they are like ambitious or doing things, do more encouraging, regardless of what you're going through. You don't want to go to that job, so take the same tenacity to be like, I'm about to encourage my homegirl or my homeboy or family. Like, go ahead, do that. And then also critique people. People have to get over the fact that you need critique to get ahead. I'm saying that because a lot of us are sensitive. We don't want to hear nothing about our faults and actions. Can't grow that way. And you definitely not about to grow in a new age of business with that type of mentality and the way that things is going. Have you seen silver had just went up, gold went up. They are changing everything with this AI stuff. And I'm trying to think what the heck I'm about to be doing in the next 5 years if I don't learn different aspects or think that I'm about to go do a whole trade school for a year and think I'm gonna get a job right now in this market depending on what trade I take. It's a lot. Even just probably getting to the school is a lot for a person in today's day and age. So I also say that too because when you start to learn first, it becomes easier to go through the trials and errors. Like, all right, bam, I owe a little bit on back taxes or something like that. All right, I know how to access the tax website and what forms to get to fix it, contest it, or pay it in that manner. You know, I'm saying that because you know how hard it is to get on the government site on your Business Express. You need ID me, fingerprint, login. Then you mess up on the password, you locked out. Man, I swear for God, a lot of people don't even know that. There's a dashboard login when you go and file your LLCs and stuff yourself. Yeah, they switched it. They switching up the websites, especially in New York State. They want to keep track of everything. So that's why we need to get into business entrepreneurship. Then we have to also analyze where do we see ourselves in our community and culture in the next 5 to 10 years if we don't get into business entrepreneurship more and then not just, oh my God, I got a Shopify store. That means you don't own nothing. Then the aspects of not just doing that but getting together for other resources. So for an example, like I said, bad money management. But now if I know that you're comfortable with your startup idea because you're good at numbers or saving, you can create to be a financial advisor or something. Then now I can invest this into you and we could get ahead. That makes sense? Boy, oh boy, I know, right? It sounds so easy, but why we ain't do it? I know I be feeling the same way. But yes, and that's why I said go watch the episode from the brother Mr. Gregory, because it's a very good thing he talked about with entrepreneurship, and I'm saying that yes for the culture. And then why am I pointing that out is because we lack amount certain resources, or I know people say that it's laziness because we have all of this technology, but like I said, it's a little bit bigger than just the technology. A lot of people are in a mode to where they don't feel like it's worth nothing in the future. So that's why I wanted to just talk about it. Instead of just being on here, yo, go to my link, go buy my. No. What does it feel like every day to where if you don't make a sale or create, what do you go through? How do you overcome it? What about being a parent running a business and things in that manner? You don't get that side. You just get the glory and the glamour, and then what they be like, how to you got to invest in an IRA and work out every morning and get up at 6 and stuff. Yeah, we know, we know. That don't mean that apply to everybody. What it means is that once I get to a certain hump of saying yes, I'm gonna do it, then that what I have to start really doing to take this if I wanted to make it great, great. It's not that perfect. I gotta work out and do this, eat this, stay up at 8, 7 o'clock. No, it's about the discipline. One thing that changes and makes a dynamic and difference between us and a lot of successful people or let's just say successful people is discipline. I can say that from speaking from trial and error. Discipline. So that's the meaning when they are saying work out, eat, wake up. What it is, war is not won in one day. It's won in many battles. So each battle for you to win this war is I'm going to get up at 6. I'm going to start tomorrow. Then after I get comfortable with that, all right, bam, I might start doing push-ups or something in the day and after. Don't feel congested or forced. I'm going to say, you know why I'm going to say that too? Because they did a test on athletes and their muscle tenders versus people that work and live in a rice field in like India or something in China, right? And what they came to find out in a study that the older people or the people that lived in this, let's say, rice field area, muscle tendons and muscle capacity and longevity was better than some of the top athletes in the world. They went to go research why. And it's because that your body and brain feels like it's forced or a routine versus these people doing it naturally just to survive. So to them, for an example, it's like, oh man, I gotta go to the gym. To them, they are working out their triceps because they're beating rice. They're getting their treadmill because they have to climb up a whole mountain top to go break a 80-pound jug of buffalo meat. So that's why they notice. What it means is that don't force what you want to do. Let it naturally come. Make a routine of a right band. Like for example, when I do like labor work, I make sure I exert myself in the midst of this work to get my workout out instead of like, oh damn, I gotta go get a membership for Planet Fitness. No. So one, the whole point of me speaking on business is for the culture to overcome this stagnation of creativity, survival mode, and then the financial problems that we are all facing. To overcome it, we have to upgrade and advance with the times and society and stop pointing the finger. If we are buying Apple, then we need to be the same person like that man that is creating stuff and owning stuff that is being shared all the way across the world, and we digging up the earth for it. So yes, we have to be more supportive on people and their dreams, regardless of it is. And then not just regardless, but critique people. Like, for an example, tell people that song trash. You feel me? Maybe you might be good at being a songwriter or a DJ, though. So don't just bomb a person. Give them some a different aspect. Why do I keep pointing out music? Because you have to look at music in a very big dynamic that I really don't hear. So like for an example, how do you get paid for your music getting played in Africa? Somebody tell me. How do you control your royalties and rights? I ain't see no rapper on here teaching that. So that means I'm about to what? Make a hot song. All right, I might. Where I'm gonna get the beat from? YouTube? Now, if you would create a hit, who owned the beat? So, yes, we got to get into the business, which is to learn it and the literacy around it. And also make it more friendly. More like how we are indulging and supporting, like Kai and that and the whole streamer stuff, the streamer kids. Yes, I support it. I use that as an example, but them kids are finding another way to beat the rat race and be self-sufficient. A lot of them understand business and have LLCs and the know the paperwork and contracts and have lawyers and things in that manner. The thing is, the teaching part is not making it like, if I got a job, can I do this? Can I do this with this $250 check? What I'm going to do after that? If it gets bad and fail, what tenacity do I have in me for that sacrifice? Who's also with me if I have to go through that? That is what people is like, not really, and we have to overcome and talk about it. We know one of the big issues is the separation, so we also got to bring that back. Nobody should be independent. And nothing should also just be based on finance. I never read a book or a success book or business book, and anybody great I read about said that they did it for money. I'm just being honest. So that is also why a lot of people are failing in life and are alone, because you're basing something that has no value. Money has no value. So remember that. The thing, like I said, when me and my sis Ashley was talking, is it's about giving something that's going to help people, change people, something that people like and want. From there, you know that you're going to garner some money because somebody's going to want to pay you for that pretty picture or that good recipe you made or good haircut you giving out. That's just it. That's just the way the world works. That's the way America is. But if you just focus on money, 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 you're going to be a very lonely person. And I want to say that because I also want to dedicate this. I should have started that out. But I told you I was starting out today. I'm a little unprepared for the streaming. And I'm a little, I'm a little, Say nah. But, I want to dedicate this to today to my homegirl Turquoise. Because I know that instead of me probably dwelling in a lot of the struggle and the hardships, I think she would rather I do this. Because what I also do this for is that people don't really understand that you can actually change people's lives from expressing yourself in a proper way to people now all across the world. And that's why I be saying a lot of indirect shit because, people don't be getting it. Once you on the World Wide Web, baby, that picture done been saved, stored, and stashed from here to Jupiter. The sad part you gonna have to do is redeem yourself with them kids when them kids get old enough to see and look at them pictures. So, boom. Yes, the basic and the simplicity of things right now is that we need to be, one, supportive of business, two, learn business, and then three, just create and do it. Not worry about all of this fake society, legality stuff. We're going to do that in the process of learning because, like I said, if you really want it, you're going to do it. You're not about to sit around here and go to no job and work 8 hours, and you're not about to go give yourself 2.5 hours. No, the fuck you not. Sorry. You're going to come back and probably give yourself 8 more hours and a little bit more because that's how and what you have to do. For an example, I argue with people a lot about this, but then they get into the tone thing. But it's like this, right? If I wanted to be a basketball player and I went to school, what would my coach and stuff tell me? Now, for an example, after that, they're going to always ask you who's your role model or your favorite person. What are they doing? So if a person says I want to be a basketball player and I'm like, oh, I want to be like Michael Jordan, I have to at least mimic what Michael Jordan did to become successful. So that means if I'm not doing a little bit of what he do, I don't really want it. That's a thing that people is like really trying to overcome with people, the excuse. Like, we have to eliminate that excuse bracket. It goes in another manner too, relationship wise, but we ain't gonna talk about that one on this episode. But business people, entrepreneurial shit, we have to get back into that 120% full fold. If you into trading, teach people. If you into stocks, teach people. Create a LLC behind it, whatever you do to protect yourself and your assets and things in that manner. So then now, right, I was telling my little brother, like, a lot of us weren't taught or wasn't passed down from like how grandma or great great grandma had a house and passed it, because the teaching, nobody knew how to teach the ownership, the process, the banking. Of course, then they went and did stuff to eliminate that. But still, that's why a lot of that failed and didn't get passed on. So to my streamers on my live, I'm sorry if I just kept the stream basic, but we ain't gonna keep this one crazy long for today and long for the live. I wanted to talk about that and get into that and make that fun. And like I said, next we're gonna get into the business credit, how to fix it, and then the meaning of it with this, right? Because we all done, if we did business, we all done went to the bank and tried to get some money, and they like, your credit score ain't right, or your business credit ain't up, or where your tax records. So we're gonna have to get into that and explain that a little more. And like I said, I will be your host today, Promise Dive On, and welcome to the Streets to Entrepreneurs. Stay tuned for more, and if you woke up this morning, you blessed. Get you some. How we did, Kick? Yo, Kick, I'm about to